I want you to take a moment, if you don't mind, and think about the person that you just simply could not imagine your life without. Certainly, Sue would be that person for me and many others, my children, my grandchildren, friends that have been so much a part of the years, people that are very dear to me. And I want you to think about how much these people mean to you. It's often been stated that when two people have been married for a very long time and one passes away, the other typically doesn't live that much longer because I guess you could say it's just a broken heart. It's just the lack of that person that was so much a part of their life. Well, in a way, that is just a small example of how the Lord sees every person that lives on this earth. Every one. It doesn't matter what age, it doesn't matter what their life is like, it doesn't matter how deceived they are. God went out of his way to speak to a violent king called Nebuchadnezzar, somebody that, as you know the story in Daniel chapter 2 through 4, that he went out of his way to reveal himself to him, to the point that Daniel or Nebuchadnezzar would go insane, and then ultimately, after his insanity, he would glorify God. Or the three Hebrew boys when they were in the fire. You just go through the time that Daniel had with Nebuchadnezzar, and how God was speaking into his life. God cares about people that we perhaps have written off. We live in a world where so many are. But I just want you to think for a moment. We've used these verses before when it says that death and hell, literally the word Sheol and Abaddon in the Hebrew, are before the eyes of God, and how much more the hearts of men. God knows what hell is like. I find it interesting that the next time in Proverbs these two are tied together is chapter 27 and verse 20. That was 15:11. But in 27:20 it says death and destruction are never satisfied, and neither are the hearts of men. So if you think about it from that viewpoint, in a way, God created us with the ability to have an understanding of what it means to embrace or care to the greatest lengths. If death and hell are never satisfied, and neither is the heart of man, then we were created, as it says in Ecclesiastes 3:11, to have eternity in our heart, to relate to God in an eternal way, and not to have infinite understanding, but to be able to possess a degree of his infinite character, kind of like it says in Ephesians 3:17 and on, speaking of the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, that we're supposed to have a grasp of or a relationship with. So if that's the case, then do you think for a moment that maybe the way that we see the world and the people in it should change a little bit? When the Word of God says in Mark chapter 8 and verse 36 and 37 that there's nothing that a person could ever give in exchange for their soul, that you give the whole world all their possessions and it wouldn't be enough. Can you understand now the depths of the love of God, that even for one, his death had to be. It had to be deep enough to cover everything, every person, and no matter what they've done, how much they've achieved, no matter who they are, how good or bad or any of that, There's nothing that could be given, even one person, not one person. And Jesus died for all. So if God can understand the hearts of men and care for them and provide for them in such a way, then maybe in our heart, in some limited way, as we come into our holiday seasons and the kids are back in school and there's so many different aspects to this season, we can begin to embrace that eternal element of God's heart and care, even for our enemies, yes, those that are totally contradictory to the purpose and the cause of Christ. Yes, care and pray and believe that God has placed us here to express just that concern in the way that we see the world, because his death was for everyone, folks, not just you and me, and not just the people that are like us or the ones that we want to be there, but for everyone. And so we can enter into that, and I hope you will. I hope as we get into this next season that this will be a season where we express this in my life, in yours, in all of our lives, in all of the ways that we possibly can. Till next time, friends, God bless you.